All persons having any business before this honourable court now draw nigh and give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Queen.
Admission of lawyers. Kathleen Ann Campbell.
May it please the Court, I move that Kathleen Ann Campbell be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Kathleen Ann Campbell be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yi Ju Choi.
May it please the Court, I move that Yi Ju Choi be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That E. Ju Choi be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Amy Carolyn Clement.
Please the Court, I move that Amy Carolyn Clements be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Amy Carolyn Clements be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alexandra Catherine Davis.
May it please the Court, I move that Alexandra Catherine Davis be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Alexandra Catherine Davis be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Christopher John Kuen Din.
That Christopher John Quinn Din be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Elaine Yu Dong.
May it please the Court, I move that Elaine Dong be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Elaine Yu Dong be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Quing Zhen Dong.
May it please the Court, I move that Quinn Zin Dong be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Quinn Zin Dong be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Adam Rahim Smoothie Albana.
May it please the Court, I move that Adam Rahim Smoothie Albana be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Adam Rahim Smoothie Albana be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jesse Edward Franks.
May it please the Court, I move that Jesse Edward Franks be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Jesse Edward Franks be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Christopher Georgiou.
May it please the Court, I move that my son Christopher Giorgio be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Christopher Giorgio be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lucinda Helena Gray.
May it please the Court, I move that Lucinda Helena Gray be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Lucinda Helena Gray be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Claudia Lee Harper.
May it please the Court, I move that Claudia Lee Harper be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Claudia Lee Harper be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Gabriella Hijazi.
May it please the Court, I move that Gabriella Hajazi be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Gabriella Hajazi be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tanya Haranisav Juvik.
May it please the Court, I move that Tanya Haranisav Juvik be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Tanya Haranisav Juvik be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Madison Elizabeth Hui.
May it please the Court, I move that Madison Huey be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Madison Elizabeth Huey be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Isabel Frances Jones.
May it please the Court, I move that my sister Isabel Jones be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Isabel Frances Jones be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Gabrielle Niraj Joseph.
May it please the Court, I move that Gabrielle Niraj Joseph be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Gabrielle Niraj Joseph be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Marilyn June King.
May it please the Court, I move that Marilyn June King be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Marilyn June King be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yu Jong Kwon.
May it please the Court, I move that Yu Zhong Kwon be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Yu Jong Kwon be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yuting Yang.
May it please the Court, I move that Yu Ting Yang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Yu Ting Yang be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Benjamin Christopher Richard Lyon.
May it please the Court, I move that Benjamin Christopher Richard Lyon be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Benjamin Christopher Richard Lyon be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Abby Hayes McPhillips.
May it please the Court, I move that Abby Hayes McPhillips be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Abby Hayes McPhillips be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alicia Jane O'Sullivan.
May it please the Court, I move that Alicia Alicia Jane Sullivan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alicia Jane O'Sullivan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Madeline Yvonne Prochet.
May it please the court, I move that Madeline Yvonne Prochet be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Madeline Yvonne Prochet be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Aisling Catherine Railton.
May it please the court, I move that Aisling Catherine Railton be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Aisling Catherine Railton be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
James Frederick Reid.
Let James Frederick Reid be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Teresa Celeste Singh.
May it please the court, I move that Teresa Celeste Singh be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Teresa Celeste Singh be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sharanya Yasso Srikant.
May it please the court, I move that Sharanya Yasso Srikant be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sharanya Yasso Srikant be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Matthew Peter Thornton Dibb.
May it please the court, I move that Matthew Peter Thornton Dibb be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Matthew Peter Thornton Dibb be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jade Lee Nicole Voss.
May it please the court, I move that Jade Lee Nicole Voss be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jade Lee Nicole Voss be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Wei Yin Yan.
May it please the court, I move that Wei Yin Yan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Wei Yin Yan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Saran Marie Zaitunian.
Please the court, I move that Sally Marie Zaitunian be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sarah Marie Zaitunian be admitted as a lawyer of this court. It will be necessary for the purpose of swearing an oath or making an affirmation that all of those being admitted today stand up, but please remain in your current places. Could all admittees please stand?
Kathleen Ann Campbell. Yi Ju Choi. Amy Carolyn Clements. Alexandra Catherine Davis. Christopher John Huen Din. Elaine Yu Dong. Quingzin Dong. Adam Rahim Smoothie Albana. Jesse Edward Franks. Christopher Georgiou. Lucinda Helena Gray. Claudia Lee Harper. Gabriella Hijazi. Tanya Radislav-Lujovic. Madison Elizabeth Hui. Isabel Frances Jones. Gabrielle Niraj Joseph. Marilyn June King. Yu Jiong Kwan. Yuting Liang. Benjamin Christopher Richard Lyon. Abby Hayes McPhillips. Alicia Jane O'Sullivan. Madeline Yvonne Prochet. Aisling Catherine Railton. James Frederick Reid. Teresa Celeste Singh. Sharanya Yasso Srikant. Matthew Peter Thornton Dibb. Jade Lee Nicole Voss. Wai Yin Yan. Saran Marie Zaitunian. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"? So help me God.
Thank you. Please be seated. Now that the formal part of the proceedings has ended, I'd like to warmly welcome you to the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Present with me on the bench today, to my right, is Justice McCallum, who is a member of the Court of Appeal, and on my left, Justice Irace, who is a judge of the Common Law Division. Together, we constitute the court that has, in the exercise of its jurisdiction, admitted you to practice. As we gather here today, I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. We recognise the long-standing and enduring customs and traditions of Australia's First Nations and acknowledge with deep regret the role our legal system has had in perpetrating many injustices against Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. To all the new lawyers here today, welcome to the legal profession. Today is a day for celebration. You've all worked extremely hard to get here, through caffeine-fuelled nights and obscure problem questions, reading countless wafer-thin pages of textbooks, and far more cases than you can ever hope to remember. Rest assured, for those of you with a bibliophobia, that is, the fear of running out of reading material, as lawyers, that fear will never materialise. You have entered the world of eggshell skulls, encountered the mysterious reasonable person, and have understood that the Constitution means so much more than the vibe of the thing. In becoming a lawyer, you have today joined a centuries-old profession with ancient origins. The custom of advocates swearing an admission oath dates back to the 12th century. This court first admitted lawyers to practice in 1824, and by 1830 the names of lawyers were entered onto rolls in this state. You have now become part of this tradition almost 200 years later. Perhaps for some of you, or for your family and friends, that's how long it feels like you've been studying. On that note, I'm also pleased to welcome those with you here today and all watching on the live stream. For many of you, the support of your family and friends has been invaluable. No doubt they have also often been on the receiving end of your finely polished skills of argument and persuasion. I do hope you take the time to thank them today. The oath or affirmation you have made today is a serious one and deserves solemn regard. Whether you work in private practice, at the bar, in a community legal centre, or in an entirely different field, you should be known for your honesty, your integrity, and your commitment to justice. It is in acknowledgement of this weighty responsibility that we observe today's unique formalities, including the moving of lawyers, swearing of oaths, and even a somewhat unusual choice of fashion. I recall on one occasion some years ago, a young member of the audience asked if we were doing Santa photos after the ceremony. I had to disappoint her. However, although we mark this occasion with formality and tradition, not everything in the legal profession remains unchanging. You'll be unsurprised to hear that last year we had to adapt quite a bit. COVID-19 meant a rapid shift to increased use of virtual courtroom setups and technology to ensure access to justice continued in the midst of a pandemic. Things didn't always go smoothly, as those with me on the bench can undoubtedly attest to. There have been real difficulties to grapple with in terms of open justice, effective communication, and fairness to participants. And occasionally a lawyer might even get stuck behind a Zoom kitten filter. But for all the challenges we faced, the impetus is greater than ever before for us to prioritise flexibility and accessibility. Better use of technology and increased working from home arrangements have profound interaction for how our legal system interacts with many people, including those in rural and remote areas, those with a disability, medical conditions, or carers' responsibilities. As the newest members of the profession, you are at the forefront of innovation in the law and have a unique opportunity to see through changes so that justice is done openly and equitably. There are, of course, other changes that deserve attention. When we think of the diversity of the legal profession, we encounter the duality that we have come very far and that much still needs to be done. Though women were originally not permitted to practice, since 2018, women have made up more than half of all solicitors with a practising certificate in New South Wales and currently make up 63% of solicitors under the age of 30. Women occupy many of the most senior positions in the law, including, of course, the Chief Justice of Australia. However, women continue to face challenges of representation, including amongst judges of this court and, for example, amongst barristers in speaking roles in the High Court of Australia. It is heartening to see that the local court of New South Wales has almost achieved gender parity amongst magistrates, but we must not be complacent about these issues. There are other noticeable diversity concerns that we must face head-on. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and people from diverse cultural backgrounds continue to be alarmingly underrepresented in the legal profession, and particularly within the ranks of the judiciary and senior counsel. We must also be alert to barriers to the profession from people from less privileged backgrounds. Law should not be a profession for the wealthy, and the idea that students may be dissuaded from studying law by the cost of a law degree, which this year has again increased, or because of other systemic issues is troubling. Not just this, but we will only achieve a truly diverse profession when barriers to advancement are broken down and people from different environments and backgrounds are properly supported in a collegiate and inclusive environment free from harassment and discrimination. These issues are fundamental to a just and transparent legal system and to the legitimacy of the rule of law. We need diverse representation amongst advocates and judges so that all people who become involved in our justice system can be properly heard and fully engaged with by a system reflective of our broader community. Despite these challenges, there is real scope for change. There is far greater diversity of background amongst junior lawyers than those who have been around for as long as me. And you only have to look first at your fellow admittees and then at the paintings on the wall to see that this is undoubtedly the case. You are in a unique position as new lawyers who are entering the profession at a time when more than ever your words and actions are having an impact for good. You are being heard and taken seriously when you agitate to correct injustices, whether it be speaking out against unsustainable working cultures, harassment or bullying within the profession, unfair laws, or systemic failings affecting our society's most vulnerable. I urge you to continue to speak up for those things. They do matter. You are the future of the profession and will steer the direction it will take. As a lawyer, you will also need to make difficult ethical decisions at times. With regard to our personal characteristics, lawyers have been the butt of jokes for centuries. Some would say there are, of course, only a handful of lawyer jokes, the rest are true stories. But jokes aside, you must use the tools you have developed to think critically and not compromise on your fundamental duties to the court and the administration of justice and the other ethical duties you must uphold. Now that you are lawyers, you can get paid to argue instead of just arguing for free. Of course, there is a lot more to it than that. You're an advisor, a problem solver, a mediator, and an advocate for the marginalised. As you go about your day-to-day work, remember that you're not merely dealing with the law in a vacuum as a series of abstract concepts, but law as it applies to people's lives. For this reason, you must strive to deliver legal services competently and fearlessly, with courtesy and integrity. Justice Gageler, before he was a High Court judge, once said, "You must be prepared to give the same answer to the same questions for the same reasons, no matter who asks the question, for what purpose, or in what context the asking may occur." That is foundational to upholding the rule of law. For those of you who will practice law, the way you communicate information to others will have profound consequences for access to justice. For a non-lawyer, law is often incomprehensible. One of your roles as a lawyer will be to make law accessible to others, sometimes by deciphering legal complexities, other times by deciphering poor legal drafting, and sometimes both. One thing you will regrettably strike throughout your career is legislation which seems carefully crafted with the sole object of ensuring that no one can understand it. Your task is not just to understand it, but to explain it clearly to those whose rights and interests are affected by it. As lawyers, we must not keep the law locked up as something knowable only to us. A client reading your advice should be empowered to understand your meaning, not mystified and confused. So be clear and concise in your writing and your speaking. Plain English is powerful. Consider, do I really need to say aforementioned or herewith? Must I sprinkle in that Latin phrase? Should I really use double negatives, tautologies and wordy clauses that take up a whole page? The answer to that is obviously no. The best advocates make their points simply and succinctly. Now, I regret that some of the most experienced lawyers and judges could from time to time use that reminder, but don't pick up on their bad habits. I also want to speak about failure. I would not be surprised if there were quite a few overachievers and perfectionists in the room today. Even so, at various points in your career, you will make mistakes, some minor, some more serious. When you do make mistakes, your commitment to honesty, integrity and the administration of justice means that you must take responsibility, correct what you can and learn from those errors. You must fail at times in order to grow. What is important is that you try not to make the same mistake twice. I myself have made many mistakes over the years, far too many to remember. And even as Chief Justice, my decisions have on occasions been successfully appealed to the High Court. When that happens, I'm obliged to grit my teeth and remind myself that it's not just a rumour that the High Court is infallible. But at times, even dissenting opinions have become the law. Finally, I want to emphasise that your mental health is extremely important. Now, this may sound unexpected at this type of ceremony, but the law is not everything. There may be times when you feel overwhelmed, burnt out or distressed. If you do, you should not be afraid to seek professional help or to take a step back when you need to. Also remember that the law is a collegiate profession, and in times of difficulty, the support of your peers will prove invaluable. I found that throughout my career. Although you might find it hard to believe, I was admitted quite a long time ago. I lost my first case, and I lost many more after that. But throughout my 35 years in practice, I could always count on the other barristers in my chambers to share my disappointment, the unfairness of the verdict, the sly tactics of opposing counsel, and most often, I regret to say, the obtuseness of the judge or judges before whom I was appearing. Now, I hasten to add I don't include either of my fellow judges on the bench in that comment. On behalf of all the judges of the Supreme Court, and particularly those sitting with me today, I once again congratulate you on your admission and welcome you to the legal profession. The Court will now adjourn.
All stand.